Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, we are going to talk to Parth Vyas, who is Solutions Architect at Microsoft. So we have Parth Vyas here live from Toronto, Canada. And thank you, Parth, for taking the time to meet with us today and sharing your experience interviewing at Microsoft.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me, and really excited to do this. So yeah, go ahead with any questions you have, and maybe.
Absolutely. So first, I want to understand, like, what's your background? Like, before join Microsoft, um, what did you do?
Okay. So basically, I did my bachelor's in computer science back in India. Then I came to Canada in 2014 to pursue my master's, and I did my master's in computer science. After that, I finished it. I got a job at a bank in Canada, which is Royal Bank of Canada, where I ended up working for almost 5 years. And then I joined, like, I think this February, I joined Nokia, and then I was still preparing for FANG interviews, and Microsoft came along. So I cleared the interview with them, and now it's been like 3 weeks at Microsoft, and yeah, that's basically my background.
Congratulations on your job at Microsoft. So you total have about 6, 7 years of IT experience. Okay.
Yes, yeah, almost like 6.5, 7 years of experience.
Okay, that's great. And how long have you been preparing for the FANG interviews?
So there are actually two aspects of it.
Mhm.
The Every time I would get these like shards of motivation, and I would prepare for a FANG interview for like maybe 2 weeks and then forget about it for 6 months. And then
Mhm.
when I come back, I feel like I've been starting all over again. So I've been doing that all across my career. But on November 26th last year, so November 26, 2021, I found out that my wife was pregnant. And on December 16th, I found that she was pregnant with twins. So that was the moment I decided that, hey, now I need to be a role model to my kids. So at least let me decide what I want to do with myself and my career. And that was the point I decided that, hey, now I'm gonna put my full focus on FANG preparation. And I think it took me like 7, 8 months, but here I am. So things worked out.
Congratulations on, having the twins, and also congratulations on Microsoft, right? I think we really need like a strong why in order to stick with the amount of work that is required to prepare for FANG. That has been my experience, and sounds like that's been your experience too. So having like a strong reason why really helps.
Definitely. I always say this, that this is not a sprint. Because I have tried this, that I would prepare for 2 days, 2 weeks, and then forget about it. When I come back, I feel like I'm starting all over again. This is actually a marathon. Consistency is the key. So if you need to be focused, and I know it becomes difficult after a few months when you're not seeing any results. But the thing
Mhm.
is, you just have to keep going on, because there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. But this is a very long tunnel. So
Absolutely. I totally second that. It takes months of, months of hard work and dedication. So, yeah, if you're willing to do it, it's totally worth it.
yeah, definitely worth it. So everyone has to do this, in my opinion.
And so before you actually ended up getting an offer from Microsoft, you also interviewed with other companies, and you have, good interview experiences, videos on your channel. Would you like to speak to any of that?
Okay, so I have actually interviewed at a lot of companies before secured Microsoft, and I got rejected at a lot of companies as well. So I was in process with Amazon. I cleared the first round, and I was about to appear for second round before I got Microsoft, and then I just like left that process. I told them that maybe after 6 months, 1 year, maybe we can see. But
Mhm.
currently, I need to focus on my current job. I interviewed at DoorDash. I interviewed at Morgan Stanley. I interviewed at. Uh, I was scheduled to interview at Facebook, but they had this hiring freeze. And
Mhm.
amongst like a lot of interview experiences, some were successful, many were rejections. And but yeah, it's just a part of the journey.
Absolutely. So were there learnings from the interviews that, wasn't successful? Like, were there any learning from the interviews that didn't go anywhere?
Actually, like, most of the learnings were from the experiences of the interviews where I did bad. I always tell this, now I can say this with confidence, that don't strive to get a job, strive to get as many interviews as you can. because with every single interview you are gonna be better at what you need, how you need to articulate, how you need to present, what are the things you did right, what are the things you did wrong, skills that you need to learn, and also be open to feedback. So even if all the interviews that I failed, I would definitely reach out to the recruiter and say that, hey, what was the team's feedback about myself, and how can I improve myself for the next one. So that gave me so much clarity about myself, because many a times we can see the world, but we feel shy of seeing ourselves in the mirror, and like we can't identify that what are the things we did wrong. And that really the feedback really helped me. So that's, yeah, definitely strive to get as many interviews as you can, even if you fail.
I totally second that. So when you reached out to recruiters, were they open to sharing the feedback or were there any hesitation?
I mean, they would not share exact like the 100% feedback, but more than likely they are also sympathetic that at least you spent some time and you took some time from your personal work that to appear for the interviews, that at least they give you even few lines of feedbacks. The thing is, you have to identify that what are the things that are important to you, and you also at the back of your head somewhat knows that what are the things you did right and wrong. Also, I developed one more habit, that whenever I finish any interview, I would just note down their questions and how was the experience I felt, that what are the things I could have done better. And if I just go back to that list, maybe after 1 or 2 days, things would become much more clear to me that, hey, I could have done better in this.
Oh, I absolutely second that idea of writing things down. When I did my Amazon preparation, like the system design and behavioral interviews, there's an ocean worth of material, and there is only so much you can go down to. So I also like try to narrow down like all the books I want to read, all the videos that I wanted to watch. So definitely like making a list of things, or even like the feedbacks you mentioned, like write things down, totally helps.
Yeah, exactly. There is only so much human mind can
Mhm.
remember. So,
Absolutely. So, can you share a little bit about your Microsoft interview?
okay, so this like let me first go over an even crazier story that I
Mhm.
already shared on my channel. But the thing is, I'm not sure if you have seen that video or not. So I'll go that again. That is how I actually got the Microsoft interview. So I mentioned that I found out my wife was pregnant with
Mhm.
twins and everything, the whole nine yards, right? Just last year, I also bought a house in Toronto. It's like one of the most expensive housing markets in the world, and yeah, definitely.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So big financial responsibility, and at the same time finding out that, yeah, I'm actually going to be responsible for an even bigger family, made me think that, okay, I need to do at least something in between before my babies get here, to at least secure some financial responsibilities. So I started doing Uber on the weekends. Anyways, I was doing that before when I was a
Mhm.
student, and
Mhm.
here and there I would do it. It's a little bit extra money helps. So I was doing that, and at the same time I had my YouTube channel. So I was doing YouTube, I was doing Uber, and I was doing the job I was doing, so all the things combined. One Saturday afternoon, I meet this guy in the Uber, and
Mhm.
he asked me that, hey, is this what you do full time? And I was like, no, no, I do this job in the IT. And we started talking, and we were really getting into the conversation. He really enjoyed the company, and I found that he was really insightful, that he knew a lot of things, and he had some great ideas. I also showed him that, hey, actually I have this channel and this is my dream. And at that time I had somewhat like 50 lead code videos,
Mhm.
and he really liked that. So he told me that, okay, I'm giving you my email address, send me your resume, I'll connect you with the right people. I was like, yeah, okay, no worries. And
Mhm.
I went home, I searched him on LinkedIn. Turns out he was the president of Microsoft Canada.
Wow, that
And
is quite a story.
yes, and then he told me that he's gonna ask someone like some director, and he's gonna connect me, and then it's up to him. Then
Mhm.
like he's like, I'm not gonna be part of the interview process, but then
Mhm.
you guys figure it out.
Mhm.
So he connected me with someone, and then he connected me with someone else, and then I got into the interview process. And now going back to your question, so the interview experience was
So
quite. Yeah, go ahead.
So before you jump into the interview experience, I do have a couple more questions.
Oh yeah,
So you
definitely go ahead.
mentioned that you did Uber over the weekend. You also have a YouTube channel and you have a full-time job. How
Yes.
did you manage your time?
So typically I would so on that time, actually my wife, she's like the most wonderful woman. uh she was the only person, she gave me the actual idea to start the YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm,
because she's not from IT background, she's from some completely different background.
mm-hmm,
And we were just discussing, and I told her that, hey, I strive to join these companies, they are like the top 1% IT companies in the world, but this is the problem, that I'm not able to do these kinds of interviews. And she's like, why do committing yourself to such hard preparation, why don't you set some other goal?
mm-hmm,
So keep the goal that, hey, I want to create my YouTube channel where I'm going to solve one or two problems every week, and that way you are teaching someone else, you are recording your journey, and you are at the same time learning new skills and also learning the preparation. So I was like, yeah, that's a great idea, right? So that's how the YouTube channel started. Second thing, on a typical day, I would wake up around like 5:30,
mm-hmm,
do like maybe 2-3 hours of Uber in the morning. Then at 9, I'll start my working. I'll finish my job, and in the evening, maybe like for 2-3 hours, I'll work on a video, or either working on the skills of how to edit videos, how to make thumbnails. Because
mm-hmm.
if you see my initial videos, they were really bad, and now I'm slowly improving them. So yeah, so like it was a lot of work. Definitely it was not easy, but I think that was the greatest experience I have had so far.
Kudos to you. You know, you have come such a long way, and yeah, you have very inspiring journey.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Now, I
now,
would like to talk about the Microsoft interview experience now.
okay, sure. So now again, going back to your original question
Mm-hmm,
regarding the Microsoft interview experience. So I mentioned that, yeah, the whole things happened, and typically a recruiter reaches out to you. This time, president reached out to me, so it was like a top-down approach. Now, in this case, when the actual interview process started, the interview at Microsoft took almost like 3 months. It was not easy, and it was six different interviews, 6 to 7 interviews in total,
mm-hmm,
and the whole process was really long. I can't explain much about like what kind of questions they asked. It was like technical questions. They were asking me to do some presentation, architectural uh, component to it, because the position I was selected for was cloud solutions architect. So it has more to do with architectural design. So it was heavily focused on that, and also a behavioral component was a huge part of it. I think Microsoft was pretty focused on hiring someone with like correct attitude, rather than correct, like even if you lack somewhat in technical skills, they are able to let it go. But yeah, they want to make sure that the person they are hiring is like willing to learn, and empathetic to the culture, and would be able to set fit in the culture.
So, from comparing this experience to my Amazon interview experience, like for Amazon, final round is like 4 to 6 hour long loop interview. So, does Microsoft have similar thing?
So they actually did, but when I was speaking with one of my interviewers earlier, she was actually the hiring manager. And when I mentioned that, hey, actually my wife was pregnant and things like that, so she was empathetic, and she told me that we can either do like a 3-4 hour long interview, or we
Mm-hmm.
can combine that and try to break between like weeks and do like an hour sometimes. So I know it would be a little bit extra work on Microsoft's end, because they need to find like these people, try to find available slots and everything, and maintain the logistics. But I'm glad that at least they did that for me. Like, even though I was not an employee at that moment, I was still an interview candidate. They showed that empathy towards myself, that hey, at least this is how we can help you out. And that is the difference between like good companies and great companies.
I absolutely agree. Like I have had like similar experience at Amazon. They are so open and empathetic about, you know, your situation, even though you're not even an employee yet, right?
Also, Microsoft was definitely empathetic, but the thing is, even when I speak regarding Amazon, I also felt the similar experience. So I mentioned that I had one interview with Amazon, and then I was in the process. So even I had to do like rescheduling 2-3 times, and they were just like so open about it. They were not feeling shy, and they were like, okay, whenever you are ready, if you're ready
Mhm.
after 1 month, if you're ready after 6 months, just let us know. We will be there for you. So don't worry about it that hey, I need to cancel at the last moment, or even like if you send out an email just half an hour before the your scheduled interview, still they won't judge you on that. So I think Amazon has also been really empathetic to that.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. So if you were to compare your experience like Amazon versus Microsoft, what are the differences?
Okay, so it wouldn't be fair comparison, first of all,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
with Microsoft almost gave like 6 7 interviews in total.
Okay.
For Amazon I only had one. Let Okay, so first let me go about the Amazon good things I felt. The interviewer was really professional, and he had the greatest poker face. I think Microsoft lacks that. Yeah, so Amazon interviewer was really good, really knowledgeable. uh, I think Amazon recruiters, they are some of the most hardworking recruiters I have seen. Because at Microsoft, I somewhat felt that recruiters were kind of busy and they would only reach out to us when they had time. But on Amazon side, whenever I send them an email within like 15 minutes or 1 hour, I would be getting some response back. So the feedback is really good. Regarding the interview preparation material that was provided, Amazon I think provided much more in depth. Uh, Now, good things about Microsoft interview. So they went out of their way to help me out to reschedule. They were pretty empathetic to my journey. They were really open about listening to what you are actually trying to say, and even trying to help your situation. And I think both companies were pretty flexible in terms of when you want to start, when you want to like go for the interview, appear for the interviews and all that. And yeah, basically that's my comparison so far. I'm sorry, I can't say much more than that.
It's totally all right. And I think so far, you have given us a very good insights of how your journey has been. So we totally appreciate that. Um, Going back to interview preparation, what kind of resources did you use for preparation? Like one question that I get asked all the time on my channel is that how do we prepare for DSA, data structures and algorithm? So would you have anything to share with our viewers on that?
Okay, so I have always been very analytical person. That anything that needs to be done has to have some proof behind it. So first of all, when I started that I want to prepare for FANG, I actually went through that. Okay, lead code is a must that you have to know it. But the thing is, on lead code there are so many different lists. So one good list I found was neetcode.io. So that is like list of 150 questions. Second thing I did was I actually bought the lead code subscription, and over there I went through their most popular list, like most like questions, most asked questions, most popular questions. And then I created like a common subset of the questions that has been asked most at the top tier companies. I created a list of somewhat like 125 questions, and that list I actually posted on Google Drive as well. So anyone who wants to take a look at it can see it. I'm going to like give you the link, so maybe we can put it in the description. And on that particular list, I like basically it has the number of questions. I divided it based on the difficulty level, the type of topics, and also like the number of times it has been appeared at any companies. So that gave me a really good insight on what questions to focus on, because on lead code there are almost 2000 questions. No one is going to have time to do all 2000 of them. Second thing, for system design, I prepared from watching a lot of YouTube videos, and also I went through. So there is this MIT series on YouTube. So I'll provide that link as well, where some MIT professor goes over the whole experience and goes over the topics of system design. And also there is one more professor from IIT Madras, and his courses was also what I completed. Then there is like the golden book everyone says, and that is the cracking the coding interview. So that helped a lot on a lot of different occasions. And for behavioral interviews, actually even for Microsoft, I actually use Amazon leadership principle questions, because I think they are some of the best that you need to prepare for the
Yeah.
behavioral interviews. And yeah, and I was just like honest with my journey, my story. And if you like you can't fake it in an interviewer, because the interviewer who is taking it, I think they are well trained and they know when you are lying. So just be honest. If you are honest, it takes you way forward. That yeah, things you know, things you don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're being honest, you may not get the job because you probably don't have the experience, but it will give you insights on what you're lacking. So you can prepare on those items and then maybe next one you'll do a lot better and, nail that interview. So yeah, great advice there, Parth. Thank you for that. My next question for you is, how was your experience receiving like an offer from Microsoft? Like, what did it feel like?
Okay, so when I gave my final set of interviews, I felt like I have flunked them, because one interview I did not do well, and then for like almost 2 3 weeks I didn't hear back from the recruiter. So I was like, yeah, I think I missed the opportunity, and I need to focus on other companies. But my wife, she was always saying that, yeah, no, she had this gut feeling that you are gonna make it into Microsoft. And when the day come when I found out that, yeah, I joined Microsoft, I mean, I was over the moon. It was the best feeling ever, because all this hard work, like almost from 8 9 months, that not only me, like me, my wife, we both were putting in, it paid off. And I was at a company where it's like you get to work with so many smart people, such brilliant people around you. And if you surround yourself with like that kind of people, definitely you are going to grow so much. So yeah, I was pretty happy. It's almost inexplainable. And the other good thing is that actually my parents were also here with me, so they were also quite shocked, because the background that I come from, no one could imagine, like the person on the schools I studied at, or the background I had, that I would end up at Microsoft. So yeah.
So
I,
great. A very proud moment for your parents and, your wife and even for your kids, actually.
yeah,
Great
probably
work.
when they grow up.
Great work. Um, so, did you actually, when you got an offer from Microsoft, did you go through like salary negotiation process or did you just, took the offer they gave you?
So yeah, I actually did the salary negotiation, and I would advise anyone who is like, who gets an offer, even like from FANG or non-FANG, like go through. There are some resources like levels.fyi. It has great resource on like current salaries that that company is providing, or that level is getting in your city or your country. Then there is Glassdoor, then there is I think LinkedIn also came up with like LinkedIn salaries. So there are different resources. Do some research, may set some expectation that, hey, up to this number I might be okay, and then negotiate like you're trying to help each other, because even the recruiter, they are also trying to secure the job, and you are also trying to get the job. So don't be shy about that, hey, that if I ask for more salary, I'm gonna sound greedy, or they are gonna have negative impression about you. No, you have a family to feed, so why don't you make some investment beforehand to at least get some better negotiation. And yeah, I negotiated once, and then we were able to reach to the number I had in mind, and then it worked out.
So a lot of people are hesitant on how to approach that, conversation because it can be a difficult conversation for most of us. So do you have any tips on how to approach that? Like any, you know, any tips you have?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I saw this video by Zahir. He is
Mhm.
the founder at levels.fyi. And in that video, he mentions one thing, that if you spend 30 minutes negotiating, that's going to change your life for next 5 years. So why won't you invest those 30 minutes? And the thing is, you on one side, you have this prejudice that if I ask for more money, you're going to sound greedy, but that's not true. You are actually trying to make a decent compensation. That way, after 2 years down the road, you're not gonna feel the need to change the company just because you didn't have enough compensation, because we are going through tough uncertain times. And if you are actually happy with the kind of compensation that is being offered, you are actually going to be much more productive to the company as well. And the most of the companies, they know this, that if their employees are happy and they don't have to worry about that, the kind of money, that where my next paycheck is coming from, if they're not thinking about that, they are going to have full focus on the kind of work they are doing. So it's an investment on both sides, and keep with that mindset. So with that openness, I think even they would be happy to negotiate as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I relate to the video that you mentioned by Zahir, who is the founder of Levels.fyi. I had seen that video before my, interview, or throughout my interview process. I was doing all these research, and I had um, come across that video, and I personally found that helpful. And it's also listed in the description below, so make sure you check it out. But one tip that I will give you for salary negotiation is that you want to be politely asking that, right? Like, you don't want to be like, if you don't give me this much salary, I'm, going to go off to another company. Don't have that kind of conversation. You want to be, open to working with them together, come up with a number that works for both of you. That would be one tip from me on salary negotiations.
Definitely, I think, yeah, that's a great tip because uh, just put yourself in the situation. If so, say for example, if you are the recruiter or you are the hiring manager, would you want a person who like behaves like that manner that, hey,
Yeah.
if you don't give me this much money, I'm gonna go to another company? Or would you rather have someone who is like, hey, let's meet in the middle. This is my expectation, and maybe let's see that how can we reach to that position. So yeah, definitely, being nice is never gonna not
Yeah.
help you.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been working with Microsoft right now? And based on your experience, what is the best part about working at Microsoft?
Okay, so I it's been 3.5 weeks, and there are a lot of best parts, I would think. Okay, so perks are really good. And everything else, they basically like every fan company. I think Amazon also does that. That they take care of their employees. They take care of their smallest needs and try to see that how can they be of help. So Microsoft also did that for me. They showed a lot of empathy. That even when I got hired, and one thing I want to explicitly mention is that the day I got hired, I had like this my onboarding session, and there was like this office tour and everything. After that, I had one-on-one with my manager, and I asked my manager that, hey, what kind of skills do you want me to learn, and then maybe I can start contributing. So the thing is, she said, no, this is the wrong question. I was like, yeah, this is the right question, but what would be the right question? She was like, the right question is that we our team has these 15 20 things that we typically do. See those 20 things, whether do you like it or not. If you like any of them, let us know, we will give you work in that. If you don't like any of these, try to find that what kind of work you want to do, and we will give you work on that, because we at Microsoft, we are confident that whatever you want to do, we are actually going to have some work and some cool interesting projects for you. So it was very much open, and yeah, that's like the most different thing I have found anywhere. And also I asked that when do I actually start contributing towards team. So she was like, we actually don't believe in that. We actually believe that for the first few months, it has to be a honeymoon period for you. No matter if you are like a fresh graduate, or if you have 10 years of experience or 20 years of experience, we don't want to burden you with work, because if we are nice to you at the beginning, you will always remember that. So we want to create a good first impression on you. I was like, is this my employer speaking to me? And yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
yeah.
That's amazing. So the first thing when you mentioned that you have the ability to choose the kind of work you want to do, I think that is true for most FANG companies, and that's really why I think they thrive in what they do, because they let people, pick the work for themselves. And if you're doing the work that you love, you're gonna thrive in it. So absolutely, totally, appreciate your feedback on that.
Yeah, definitely. So, and one more thing, like when
Mhm.
you mentioned that that's why these FANG companies thrive on that, like look at the example of like pick any company, like take Google for an example. Gmail, Google Hangouts, like Google Meet, Orkut. These are the things their employees made on their free time, and they actually made Google huge. So it's like they are giving them freedom to do whatever they want to, and that freedom is actually empowering a lot of people in the world. So yeah, it's a great mindset, and that helps both ways.
And it's one of the, really cool reason why you should be, trying to work at FANG.
Oh yeah. In my opinion, everyone has to like, just as you mentioned before, that everyone has to at least apply for FANG, even if you don't want to get the job. Like, don't be stigmatized by the things or the stories you hear. The actual reality is not that. When you are at that position, I can say that that at least you need to be feel you need to be in a feeling where you are respected, and respected completely.
Absolutely
Yeah.
agree. Agree. Um, so my last question to you for today is, what would be your advice to somebody, you know, preparing for FANG, or just starting out their career?
Actually, don't make the mistakes I made. Stick with the consistency. Start it and don't overthink it, because a lot of times what I used to do is, I would see that this mountain of work I need to do before I actually get into FANG, and that's why I never actually did that, and that sent me like maybe 2 3 4 years back in my career. I had the skills that I have right now, but I just didn't apply it. And one of the things I recently heard, that knowledge is potential. So you can have infinite amount of knowledge and you can have infinite potential, but thing is, application is the actual power. If you don't apply it, it's just going to go to waste. And stop overthinking about it. Start learning and be curious. If you are curious that, hey, at least let me see that what this is about, actual thing is not as difficult as it sounds on paper. So like, just get into it, start asking more questions, surround yourself with the people that you want to aspire to be like them, because like, the your friend circle or your social circle is going to impact so much on your career. So yeah,
So
just
the two things I'll add to what you just said, right? Consistency is the key. I absolutely agree. Instead of making drastic changes, and if you think like you will sit down one weekend and study all the things and on, Monday you'll be all ready, that's not going to work. So work every day, spend an hour, half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever time you have, use that and make it incorporate these things into your daily life. That's chances are you're going to get better success with that. You are a combination of, five people that you spend most time with, so make sure you choose the right company, choose the people, choose to be around the people that make you want to be a better person. So yeah, that is it for today's interview, guys. Thank you so much, Parth, for being here on my channel and giving us really good insights about your experience and being so open and very well articulative about your experience. We really appreciate that. And for everybody else watching this channel, make sure to check out Parth's channel. He has really good interview experiences on his channel, so make sure to check it out. Thank you.
sure. Thank you. It was wonderful to speaking with you as well, Pratiksha. And hope, like, I would highly recommend everyone to at least go through like Pratiksha's experiences and the preparation material she's suggesting, because that is like one of the top notch, and it's gonna save you so much effort that you would rather put in by yourself. So one of the things these FANG companies, they actually judge their employees based on, is that how much actually you are consuming from the work that others have done. And so like, why don't you apply the same formula in your life, that if someone has done the work, don't try to reinvent the wheel. So like, go through the experiences. It's gonna help you jumpstart, and yeah, hopefully you also have a great career. And it was pleasure speaking with you, Pratiksha.
Thank you, Parth. Same here.